Hey there! I am so excited. If you teach in grades 2, 3, 4, or 5, I am here to share with you 4 of my favorite resources. So if you like resources that are really engaging for your students, but super simple for you as the teacher to implement, then you are going to want to stick around because I'm sharing 4 of my very favorites. So I'm Jamie from Not So Wimpy Teacher, and I'm excited to be with you this afternoon or evening, depending on your time zone. I hope that heading back to school after your Thanksgiving break wasn't too painful. Hope you had some fun with your students. All right. I want to make sure that everyone knows before I even get started that when we are having a sale over in the Not So Wimpy Teacher store, every single one of our resources, and we have hundreds, are on sale right now for 20% off. You don't do anything to get that 20%. I've already marked them down for you. But TBT will give you an additional 5% for a total of 25% off if you use the promo code Cyber21, and the code's up on the site so you won't forget. But if you use that code, you get another 5%. That means you can get any of the Not So Wimpy resources for 25% off. That's huge. And it doesn't happen too often. It is our last sale of the year, and we want to make sure that you take advantage and grab those resources that are going to save you time because you need that. You can't get back your time, and I know that you are a busy group. So again, all our resources on sale, and I'm going to share with you 4 of my very favorites. I can't wait to hear if any of the resources I'm choosing today also happen to be your favorites. Now, while we're waiting for a couple more people to join us, would you do me a favor? Would you help me and my husband? We're having a baby girl, and this is going to be our 5th girl. So we've used up all of our favorite girl names. So get in the comments and tell me a great girl name. It could be your name. That's fine. It could be your sister's, your daughter's. But why I'm asking is because you're teachers and you have so many names from your classroom. So is there a student's name that stands out to you as really pretty? I could really use some help. So drop a name in the comment box while we're waiting here. Bailey. I have a funny story about Bailey. Back when I was in college, I adopted a little kitten and I named him Bailey. And my coworker said, "Do not name your cat Bailey. You'll never be able to name your kid Bailey." And I was like, "Kids, I'm not thinking about that. I'm going to name my cat Bailey." So now I can't name my kid Bailey. She was right. Oh, good. So many names. Thank you. We need them. Erin, I've never seen it spelled like that. That's so pretty. Daisy. Audrey. All right. Thanks, guys. You guys, it's hard when you're a teacher to name your kids because you had a lot of children with names. And when you think about the name, it's like that kid's name. And it doesn't seem right to name your child that name. So we could use your help. Thank you. Okay. You can keep putting those names in the comment box because, like I said, we need all the help we can get. Go ahead and stick any of those names. Jocelyn, I actually like your name quite a bit. That's beautiful. All right. 4 resources. I was asked to pick my favorite. I was asked to pick a few of my favorite things. I have to tell you, it was really hard to pick my favorite. And the reason it's really hard is that we create resources straight from our hearts. The Not So Wimpy team is made up of teachers. And when we go to make a resource, we get together and we start off by talking about what was missing from our curriculum, like what made it hard to teach. Why didn't students grasp the concept easier? Why was it so hard for teachers to plan? What was our curriculum missing? What did our curriculum have that we loved and we wish it had more of it? What worked, what didn't? And we start to dream up what we consider to be the perfect solution. And so once we create a resource, it's something that it's everything we wish we'd had. And we want to create it for you to save you time, but also to help you to get your students to master those standards because we know how important that is. And so every resource we put in our store, we love. It's hard to pick our favorites when we love our resources so much. So I had trouble picking, but I went ahead and picked 4. I thought I was kind of pushing it. They said pick a few of your favorites. I picked 4. So I was pushing it a little bit, but I just couldn't narrow it down any further. So let's just get started. I actually want to start with our newest resource. I'm excited about this. We just released a new holiday resource, which we're very proud of. It took a lot of time. We put in a lot of thought and a lot of heart on this one. What we thought was, we want you to have a week of really engaging holiday material that is like print and go. So we want your students to be super engaged, having the best time, and working on academics. But we wanted it to be like push print time to teach for you because, hey, this time of year is extra busy and extra stressful. You have a lot going on in your personal life and at school. So we thought, how can we make this so easy and engaging? And here is what we came up with. It is our Christmas Tree Farm resource. This is an entire week. It includes math, reading, writing, STEM. It's basically one large project with the theme of a Christmas tree farm that your students work on throughout the week. You can do all the activities if you want, or you can just pick and choose which activities you want to do. It's totally up to you. We have differentiated this resource so that you can use it in grades 2 through 5. We know second graders and fifth graders don't do the same activities, but we've differentiated these so that it can be used in multiple grade levels, which is fantastic. If you ever get moved grade levels, you'll know you'll still get to use this resource. Okay, so I want to show you some of the activities. I really want to give you a sneak peek. Christy just bought it this morning. Can't wait to use it. Great, Christy. I can't wait to hear what you and your students think of this resource. I'm going to give you like a little sneak peek. Every day has a different theme. So the first day is all about growing Christmas trees. And I'm going to show you there's lots of different activities. Again, pick and choose the ones you like the best or do them all. We've included teacher directions. I don't have them right here, but we included teacher directions that make it so simple that you are not going to have to waste any brain power figuring out how to use the resource. We want it to be really easy for you. But I mean, it's so easy. You could have a substitute do this. So day 1, growing the Christmas trees. I told you we differentiated, and how we showed you the differentiation is with a holly and with a gift. The gift is a little bit easier version, and the holly is a little bit more challenging. So if you teach in 4th and 5th grade, you might want to steer towards the holly, or maybe you have different levels in your classroom and you want to pick and choose what certain groups or certain students will use. You have that opportunity. So we've got a passage here about the Christmas tree life cycle, and then we've got a little writing project for them to do. Again, we have differentiated it. So you can do this version if you prefer, or we have this wheel, which I think is super fun. I think you've done these wheels before, but all you need is a brad to do this wheel project. Again, we tried to include plenty of text for them to read too, so that they're getting all the reading skills. We have this here, which describes several different trees, and then they get to a writing prompt. If you could choose to buy a tree from this farm, what type would you choose, and explain why? So there's lots of different writing prompts that you can use throughout the resource. On top of that, they get to compare the different trees if you'd like them to. They can pick 2 different trees and do a compare and contrast with the Venn diagram. Super fun, and it's academic. They need to learn how to compare and contrast, right? This one's fun. In this one, you're going to have your students map the tree farm, and they have this grid to do their map on, depending on how you want it, which version you want to give them. It gives them some ideas. This one here uses square units, so it's using area, which makes it great for 4th and 5th grade. And this one here is a little bit simpler. They don't have to do area, but they got to put each of these components on their map. Anyway, I just want to keep going and show you all these. They're going to talk about last year's sales, using a little math here. Again, it's differentiated for you. Pricing of the trees. Day 2, this one's my favorite day. I think that. You don't have to use everything, Jocelyn, but yes, you can use that all in day 1 if you want. It could be really your entire day of teaching if you'd like, but you could also just pick and choose which ones you want to use. And don't forget, there were differentiated versions in there, so that made it look even more. This is day 2, the Christmas tree farm attractions. So they get to make rules for the ice skating rink. They can design a sweater. They can design a wreath. This uses geometry with different shapes. They can design a photo booth backdrop. There is the snack stand menu, again, differentiated, and they can figure out the orders for different money amounts. This is a great writing assignment, making hot cocoa, a first, next, then last diagram for them to use for how-to writing. All right, this one here is picking the tree for the farm. And again, it's differentiated. I love this. There's some reindeer at the farm. You get to meet them and read about them. And then on day 2, there's a little STEM project where you get to build the reindeer barn. This is an easy STEM project. This is not a crazy STEM project. It's using things you already have around your classroom. Things like paper, straws, pencils, markers, pipe cleaners. And students are going to make the reindeer's farm there. Day 3 is about advertising. This is real life. This is fantastic, showing them all the things that businesses actually have to think about. So there's time, there's a logo, different jobs, and then they get to fill out an application for the job they like. Then there's a brochure they can make. This is really cute. You would print this front to back. There's 2 different versions. There's one that really like maps out what they should put on each section of the brochure, or one that's totally blank. They're going to write social media posts. I mean, this is real life, right? And they get to plan out a commercial. They get to do some advertising. Again, it's differentiated. They get to plan their advertising budget. Day 4 is all about opening day. And there's ticket prices. They're doing a little more math here. Again, it is differentiated for the different grade levels, meaning that the harder version has decimals. There's a schedule they need to put together. Music playlist. Some of these are just fun, right? And then they get to write a persuasive storytelling why you should buy a real Christmas tree from their farm. And then there's the tree delivery. Again, this is differentiated, and they have a map that they're using. I love that. There's a recipe. Lots of different types of like real life text. This recipe is differentiated again, and they get to answer some questions about the recipe. Their photo booth picture, reindeer treats. This is more math. It's differentiated. They're using the price, how many they're purchasing. They have $15 to spend, so they have to decide what they're going to purchase for their reindeer. Day 5 is the opening day profits and reflection. So they're going to reflect on that opening day. They're going to write a thank you letter to customers, or you can have them do a thank you postcard if you prefer. I love this one. They're actually going to read the reviews, and they're going to reflect on those reviews, what changes they might make next year based on the reviews. Like, this is super real life. I love it. There is a graph of the sales that they made on opening day, and they can make their own. They can make a bar graph, and there's differentiated versions of this as well. And then they get to look at their expenses and how much money they made. Again, differentiated. And they're going ahead to figure out the profits, which I love, and answering some questions on the more difficult version. They're going to plan a celebration for the employees. And then they get to actually reflect on this project. What did they love about this project? What did they learn from it? This is your whole week planned for you. You can do as much or as little of it as you like. You can pick and choose your favorite activities, or use it all and call the week done. Like, push print and go. So we're loving this new Christmas tree resource. Again, it's on sale in the Not So Wimpy store. It's already 20% off. Use the TPT's discount code and you'll get another 5% off. So you can get 25% off and be done planning for an entire week. This would be great for that week right before break. When you're busy doing report cards, you're kind of tired, and everybody's a little squirmy. This would be really fun. So, all right, that was one of my favorite things. Do you guys love it? I can't believe how many activities are there. We kind of had to tell the team, like, okay, stop, because there were so many great ideas. But we just hope that there's plenty in there for you to pick and choose from. You have differentiated versions to make it just perfect for your class. All right. Amber says, can't wait to use this at our last week before Christmas. Jocelyn said it looks very cool. Yes, we're really excited about that resource. If you're looking for other holiday resources, I wasn't allowed to pick more than a few, but we have an amazing holiday around the world escape room. And it's a great way to help your students to learn about different cultures and celebrations besides just Christmas. So if you are interested in something like that, it's an escape room, but it's simple for the teacher to do. You don't got to go get locks and stuff like that. Escape rooms are fun, but they can be really stressful if they're really challenging. This one is easy for the students to do. Directions are easy for the students to understand. So if you're looking for even more holiday resources, that is also on sale in our store. Okay, now let's talk about grammar. So everyone doesn't necessarily love grammar, but if you do, you really do. I found grammar to be tricky to teach in my classroom because I didn't really have resources. And so every week I was like, today I'm teaching plural nouns. And I'd go to Pinterest and I'd search plural nouns. I'd go to TPT and search plural nouns. And I'd grab some activities and I would start teaching plural nouns. But the next week I'd have to start all over again. I realized I didn't have a good routine. And if I was using the same materials week after week, I wouldn't waste so much time searching. And I wouldn't have to keep learning how to use new resource every single week and teach my students how to use a new resource every week. So when we sat down to plan something amazing for teachers, we thought we have got to have a great routine. So we created grammar units. We have a unit for second grade, a unit for third, a unit for fourth, and a unit for fifth. They cover that grade level standard. So I know a lot of your students may feel like they're a little bit behind this year. I still recommend going to the grade level that you teach because they are grade level standards. We did our best to constantly review. And so we think that will help your students to still be successful. So let me show you, because it's so fun, give you a sneak peek of what comes inside of our grammar units. Let me know in the comments if you've used any of our grammar units, if it's one of your favorite resources too. So first things first, on Monday, we teach a mini lesson. And I was always teaching all these rules, but I didn't have any resources to do so. And that's why I created PowerPoints for you to use every single Monday. So you don't have to remember all the rules on your own, and you don't have to create big charts and be Picasso. Everything's already created for you. So this is an example of our verb tenses, a PowerPoint for third grade. What I love about this is that there's lots of opportunities where students are sharing and interacting. So you're not just reading from a PowerPoint. There's lots of interaction for your students. But they go through and review a little bit. So this is verb tenses. So we need to sort of review what a verb is, but then we're going to introduce the different tenses. We're going to introduce any rules. And there's lots of practice opportunities. I love to have them do that with partners so everyone gets an opportunity. And it just is a great introduction to the skill. And that's really important because on Monday, I really think about that as let's introduce the skill. Let's give them the vocabulary they need. Let's just make sure that they start to understand. It's not going to be mastery yet, but we go through and you'll notice the slides start to get more and more difficult, asking them to participate. And then we always end with a question to help round it out. So when you get the grammar bundles, we'll have a PowerPoint for every single week, every single skill that you need to teach. On Tuesdays, I want to go ahead and grab my stuff here. On Tuesdays, we like to do interactive notebooks. I love interactive notebooks because it allows students to cut and glue, move and write. It's great for your kinesthetic learners, but also it becomes an amazing resource for them to use over and over again. But you will notice that I have very simple cuts in my interactive notebooks. So on Tuesday, they're going to put this together. Again, it has the definition and the rules. It has an opportunity for them to practice underneath flaps. But there's no coloring, and the cuts are super straight, easy for them, but they can go back to this over and over again. When they come to me and they're like, what's a plural noun? They have a resource, so they can just go back to this. This again is our third grade notebook, but they can come back to this over and over again. And that's what I just love about these interactive notebook activities. They can be done in 10 minutes or less because the cuts are so simple and students get very used to them. All right. On Wednesday, I like to show my students how grammar and writing are combined, how they relate. Because that's why we're teaching them grammar, is so that they will get better and better in their writing. This does not take the place of my writing workshop, but it's a quick 10-minute activity where they start off with a simple prompt that everyone can answer. And then there's almost always a trade papers with your partner, and they're having to do something to show that they understand the grammar skill from that week. So with that past tense verbs or the verb tenses, they're going to circle past tense, they're going to underline future tense of their partners. And then I love this. It's just a fun to share time. Who wants to raise their hand and share one verb that their partner used? It's fun to get to have students raise their hand and share the great work partners do. It just feels good. So this is Wednesday. It's a quick writing activity. All right, Thursday is one of my students' favorite activities. It's a task card scoot. Do you guys use task card scoots in your classroom? My students loved them. We could have done a task card scoot every day. They would have gone for it. So each week has the recording sheet, and students do not have to complete everything in order. So that's what makes it easy to do this scoot. So you'll take the task cards. There's almost always 24 of them. You don't have to have 24 students though. You take the task cards, and I would put them on the desks, and I would just like put one on each desk or on tables around your classroom. And then I would tell students to start with the one closest to them. So if they have one on their desk, they start there, they would read it, answer the question on the recording sheet, and move to the next one. They did this on their own instead of like, some teachers will set a timer, and when the timer goes off, you go to the next task card. But I liked letting my students move when they were ready because I think that's like differentiation built right in. I can also go around with my students who need some help with reading, or another differentiation is I can allow them to get their interactive notebook and bring it with them. So lots of ways to make this work for every student in your classroom, but my students just like to get out of their seat and walk around. So task card scoots were great for that. We'd also bring these back out at test prep and do fun games with them as a reminder, a review. So this would be what we do on Thursday. And then on Friday, we have an assessment. And it's super quick assessment, usually about 10 questions, easy to grade, and they don't take students long to complete. That's the idea. I don't need them to do 50 different questions in order to know if they have mastered this skill. So with our grammar bundles, we have them for grades 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you get all the materials, the PowerPoint, you get the interactive notebook activities, the writing activity, the task cards, and the assessments for every single week of the school year. So you're done. Grammar is planned. And at first, you got to teach your students all the routines, but then they just catch on, and it doesn't take more than 10 minutes per day to complete your grammar lessons. So that's why I really love that resource. It just saves me a lot of time having to go search out all these new materials. And I knew that I was going to end up covering every single one of the grammar language standards by using the resource. So I hope that you love our grammar bundles. Again, everything in our store, including our grammar bundles, are on sale today. They're 20% off. And then when you use the code, TPT's code Cyber21, they'll give you another 5% off. So you get the resource for 25% off. And that's on top of bundle discounts that we already offer. Okay, so that was my second favorite resource. I mean, they're like children. You can't like rank them. But all right, the third resource I want to show you are my writing units. Tell me in the comments if you've ever used any of my writing units. I'd love to hear if they are your favorite resource too. And I'm going to grab my writing binder so I can show it to you too. So writing was really hard for me to teach. I don't know about you, but at first we were given no materials, but then even when we were given a curriculum, I realized that maybe having a curriculum was harder than not having a curriculum. It was too much for me to read every night, and my students just weren't growing. So I was pretty frustrated by writing. All my lessons just seemed like me talking a whole bunch and my students just staring at me like I was speaking a foreign language. So I knew I needed to create writing units that were really easy for a teacher to use, but would actually help a student to become a better writer, because that's the whole point. And so that's why we created these writing units. We have writing units for grades 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I, again, do recommend getting your grade level. And the difference in the grade levels really has a lot to do with the level of the text inside, but they also have all different examples on anchor charts and task cards. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you. This is my fiction narrative unit for 3rd grade. All of my bundles contain 4 units: personal narrative, informational, opinion, and fiction narrative. So you get 4 units inside your bundle. It'll take you through the whole year, and your students will be ready for any of those standardized tests. Now, my favorite part, I think, of my writing units is the lesson plans. They're just one page, one side of one page even. I had a curriculum where the lesson plan was like 5, 6, 7 pages long. I just didn't have time to keep up. I was reading it while teaching it. You don't need to do that. They're so short. I've got an essential question, materials, which are really all included, the mini lesson, the work time assignment for your students, a closing, and then many of the lessons have intervention and extension ideas included. So these are just like lesson plans that are so easy that a substitute can do them. And this was really important to me that we keep it simple. Okay, I said that was my favorite part, but I don't know. Maybe this next part is my favorite. I didn't like when you were teaching a writing unit, but you had to go to the library or Amazon and find a whole bunch of different books. And so when we sat down to create the perfect writing materials, we knew we wanted to include all of the mentor text. And so you don't use a passage every day, but there are usually about 15 or so passages in each unit. And we wrote them ourselves. So they're brand new stories your students have never heard, and you don't have to buy any books. You don't have to search the library for a book or stress over it because all the text you'll need is here. The great thing about using passages, you can still just read it aloud like you would a book. No problem with that. You can display it on your whiteboard so students can choral read it together. You can make copies for your students and have them close read it during reading groups so that they're really ready to talk about it during writing. You can have students glue it into their notebooks and highlight certain parts. Lots of things you can do. We've also included, let me turn this, anchor charts for your lessons. Now, I'm showing you printed versions, but we included PowerPoint so you can just display it on your whiteboard and fill it in as you go. And we also included exactly what to fill it in with. I don't know that I have that version, but you don't have to figure out what goes in every box. I've included, here it is, a version that's all filled out so you can use it as a guide. But now you don't have to draw out anchor charts every day, but your students will still have anchor charts. These activities are built right into the lesson plan, so you know right when to use them, which is so important to me. Now, we created those anchor charts, and I was really excited about that because I am not much of an artist. But then I had this thought, and I was like, well, if we make the anchor charts on the board, then my students won't be able to go back and read them later, which is an important part of an anchor chart. And that's when we came up with this idea of making miniature versions of all the anchor charts for our students. So while you're filling it out on the board, your students can be filling it out in their notebook. So now they have a reference that they can go back to over and over again. It also keeps them engaged in your mini lesson. So you have miniature versions of all of the anchor charts included in the writing units. The writing units also contain some task cards, some videos to help you get started, all the printables you'll need to make your writing notebooks. Really, we just were thinking, how could we make this so easy and complete? And teachers are having huge results with their students growing to love writing. And as soon as they love writing, then they start to see their students grow as writers. It takes a love for writing first, and then they start to see growth. So we're really excited about our writing units. Again, they're on sale today. I put them on sale for 20% off, and then TBT is giving you a discount code for an additional 5% off. So you can get them for 25% off. The tabs in my notebooks, Jocelyn, are included in the resource, and I just printed it on cardstock, and students cut it out and glued it in their notebooks. That's all it is. It's just a piece of cardstock. I'll let my students color this on the day they set up the notebooks. And even notebook setup is included in lesson plans. So easy peasy, you'll know exactly what to do. Okay. Here we go. I want to show you one of our newer resources. If you are a third grade teacher, You are really going to love this. And if you're a fourth grade teacher, know this is coming for you next. But I want to talk to you about our brand new third grade math curriculum. So we have been asked to create a math curriculum for a long time, and I kept saying no because it sounded hard. I mean, guys, there's a lot of components to a great math curriculum, right? And I just thought that's going to be really hard for me to create. I can't do it. So I kept telling you no, but you kept pushing, and I love to listen to you. And so my team got together just over a year ago, I believe, and we started brainstorming like, what did you love about your math curriculum? There were some answers. What did you hate? What did you wish it would have? What worked? What was hard? What made it hard for the teacher? And we just took all of those answers and created the perfect curriculum. And I mean, it's great. So we have third grade. It's a growing bundle. We're adding the last few units in the next couple of months, but you can buy the growing bundle at a discount now. So that's really awesome. It has 10 units and it will take you through the entire year, all of the standards. We spent a ton of time looking at every standard, examining it, looking at test questions and how it's worded, and really thinking about how we could help students. And so what you're going to see is like all the research we've done, all the time we've spent asking you guys questions. It's amazing. So here we go. I wanted to show you this. This is from the fraction unit, which is the newest unit we put out. I love to teach fractions, so I think I picked this one because it's my favorite math skill to teach. So 30 days, every unit is a little bit different in length. Obviously, you don't spend the same amount of time on every skill. You might spend more time on multiplication than you do on graphing. And so we made each unit. We really broke down the year and we talked to teachers like, what was the hardest skill for your students to understand? How long do you spend on every skill? And we came up with a really great pacing. And so we actually spent 30 days on fractions, which seems like a dream come true to me. This is just how I organized it. Teachers organize it all different ways, but I wanted to be able to show you everything. This is a unit at a glance. Which we provide. So this is the 30 days. You can see exactly what skill you're going to be teaching each of those 30 days. I love that. Love it. Jocelyn loves fractions, just like me. Okay, lesson plans. These look so much like our writing plans, right? Teachers were telling us how much they loved the short lesson plans. And so we knew we needed to do the same for math. You don't have that much time to scan through 10, 12 pages to know what to teach. And so our lesson plans are short and sweet. We've got an I can statement, the materials, vocabulary that you're going to be covering. Here's your mini lesson. Boom, that's it. You can do this. We have intervention and extension ideas and a wrap up for you. Now, this is my favorite part. I'm so excited. Well, this is one of my favorite parts. I keep saying this is my favorite, but over here for every day, we also have your meet the teacher lesson plan. So if you do small group math, we've created simple lessons for you to do when you meet with your groups. So we've differentiated it for you. Like, here's an idea of what you could do with your approaching group. Here's what you could do with your on-track group. And here's what you could do with your master group. So you don't even have to think about what to do in small group. We already did that for you. We didn't know any other math curriculum who did that, but we thought, man, that would be really helpful. And so we added it to our curriculum. It is one of my favorite things about our curriculum. Now, real quick, I want to show you another one of my favorite things. And let me close this so that I can show you every lesson in our math curriculum includes a PowerPoint. I love how PowerPoints help me to know what I'm supposed to do and say. And I've never had a math curriculum that had a PowerPoint, but it just makes it easier to stay on track. I don't have to write problems on the board. It just is so helpful to me. So, and they go in the same routine every day. They start off with the I can statement. There's a little bit of fact fluency for them. And that's all yellow. Then it goes into a warm-up problem. And then it's going to go into your lesson for the day. Vocabulary is included in there. It's hands-on. They're learning vocabulary. They're modeling it. But I don't have to draw pictures on the board. It's done. I mean, hello. This is so fabulous. You barely have to look at your lesson plans because the PowerPoint is going to walk you through the whole lesson so you don't, have to I don't know, figure it all out. Now we included some center rotation slides too. You can use it, you can delete it. It's up to you. And then we even have the exit ticket. We have printed versions, but we thought some of you might just prefer to display it and have students write the answers on a scratch piece of paper or in their notebooks. So it's there for you. We wanted to include everything. Now, all of the lessons also have problem sets. Now you're going to notice there's like 8 problems on this one. There's 6 on this one. Kids don't have to do 30 problems in order to practice what they've just learned. They just need a few, and you don't have a lot of time anyway. I love that. It starts a little bit easier and gradually gets more challenging on the problem set page. It goes right along with the lesson you taught, so it's going to make sense to them. I disliked when the problem sets didn't seem to match what we were teaching. You also have a homework sheet, which is going to be super similar to the problem set. I would probably photocopy these on the back of the problem set. Then students could take it home and they have the problem set as an example. So you can, the homework will match. It's just one more time for them to practice. We also have included an exit ticket for every lesson. You don't have to use them on every lesson if you don't want to, but there is one for every lesson. These are not intended to be a grade on the report card, but it's a great way for you to check, like, who understood, who didn't? Do I need to reteach this? Do I need to cover this again in small group? The quick exit ticket will allow you to know that. And it won't take students long. There's only like 2 or 3 questions. I love that the curriculum includes an exit ticket, a quick assessment for you. All right, now let me see. There are interactive notebook activities. These are generally used in small group. And remember, your small group lesson plans will tell you when to use them. But I love these because, again, simple cuts. And once your students put these into their notebooks, they have a wonderful reference to use all year. And so that's awesome. It's great small work activity. You could also use it as a center. If you wanted to, your interactive notebook activities could be a center. We have more assessments. The exit tickets are fabulous, just for you to know, but we also have to have grades in the report card, right? So we have a pre-assessment. I wouldn't put this in the report card, but this is handy for you to be able to figure out where people start. Then you can divide your class into their small groups easier. And then we have an end of unit assessment. It's going to cover each of the skills you've covered in the unit and nothing more. So students aren't going to see some crazy problem on there that they have not already done. So that's awesome. I hate assessments that you're like, wow, we never did that. Wow. So it's going to get more challenging. There's plenty of problems. So it's not like when they miss one problem, they fail the assessment. Now, here's something cool. We created a rubric for you. It's one thing just to grade the test and say, oh, they got, 28 out of 37. But by filling out this rubric and which questions they struggled with, you can easily tell which skill your students might need reteach on or might need a small group lesson on. It's broken down here by the different skills so that you don't just have like, oh, they didn't do good on fractions. Well, maybe they didn't do good on fractions because they didn't understand this skill here. And you just have to reteach that, not the whole unit. I love this. There are some tools. These would be great if you want to go ahead and put them in a page protector or laminate them for your students to use during small group. Again, your small group lesson plans will tell you when to use them, but we wanted to provide everything you would need. We even included anchor charts. Again, you can display them, you can print them, it's up to you. But we went ahead and included the anchor charts that you could use for your lessons. You can put these on a bulletin board if you choose. We also have vocabulary strips. So this would be great on a bulletin board for math where you can include the different vocabulary as you learn it. You can put it up there. We have picture representations and word representations for all the vocabulary. And we have task cards. The lesson plans will tell you when to use them, but I love task cards. Great for doing a scoot. Students just love to get out of their desk. Again, just place them around the room. Students have a recording sheet and they just start with the closest one to them and move around to differentiate. You could have students who bring their interactive notebook with them so that they can use that. And there's the recording sheet. We also have answer keys included. I didn't print those, but we have them. There is a game in every unit. This is perfect for centers, but it's an awesome opportunity for them to practice the skill you're teaching with a fun game. I mean, who doesn't love it? There's student materials and directions. This game is easy for them to just stick in their centers. Now, about every other unit has a project-based learning activity. The lesson plans tell you when to use it. So again, that makes it easy. This one for fractions is all about a cafe. They are working to get the whole cafe set up. So it says, all your hard work is paid off. You've been promoted to manager at Sprinkles Cafe, and you're in charge of getting the cafe ready for the day, as well as helping with daily tasks. So they have all these different activities that they can do, and you can do black and white version, or you can just laminate the color version. You can have them write directly on it and dry erase marker. Totally up to you. You could display it on your board too if you wanted to. So there's these different activities that all practice fractions. We wanted it to be engaging. And when we talked about what we didn't like about math, sometimes it was like, I want to do engaging things, but I don't have time. So we made engaging resources and we stuck it in your lesson plans. Now you got time. So I'm so excited about the third grade math curriculum. It is incredibly complete, and it's what we wished we had. Like, it's the curriculum we really wish we could have had, and we want you to have it. So it's on sale. Again, we only have third grade right now. Fourth grade is our next project we're tackling in 2022, but we're excited. We have third grade, and it is 20% off. Use the TPT promo code CYBER21 and you'll get another 5% off. And that's right now it's on discounted because it's a growing bundle. So you're getting a discount on top of the discount. So that's awesome. All right. Those were a few of my favorite things. Our new Christmas tree resource, which I absolutely love. I showed you our grammar, I showed you our writing, and I showed you the third grade math curriculum. So hard to pick because there's so many resources that I really love, but those are probably my favorites at the very moment. But if you want to get in the comments, if you have questions about the sale, about any of the resources I showed today, or just another resource in my store, please get in the comments, ask them. Myself or someone from my team will make sure that we get them answered, because we want you to get to take advantage of this discount. We want you to be able to save a few dollars, because we know how hard this is. We also want you to have a resource that's going to make it easy. We want to take away some of the stress and pressure. We want you to be able to push print and just teach. All right. I am going to say goodbye, but thank you so much for joining me tonight and listening to me talk about a few of my favorite resources. I hope you have a fantastic week at school this week. Let me know if you have questions. Have a not so wimpy day.